It's a chilly one outside, but NC State stayed red hot inside the LJVM, followed up another red hot three-point shooting performance to perform an avalanche. NC State basketball wins yet again on the road.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. Our Saturday post-game live is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football coming up next weekend in the Super Bowl. And if you're a FanDuel customer, in fact, a new FanDuel customer, all you have to do is bet just $5 and you can get $200 back in bonus bets if that bet wins. Head on over to FanDuel in order to get started. FanDuel, play your game. Happy Saturday afternoon to all. It is just me on here. We've lost Kenton in the Snowmageddon. Just kidding. He had a prior engagement, so could not be on here. It'll be just me, and I'll keep it relatively brief because I know all of us want to play out in the snow, or I guess for many of us in Raleigh, waiting for the snow. But NC State basketball stayed red hot on the road yet again, 96-78 over the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. We didn't get a ton of time to talk about this game leading up into it, but one of my overall points that I hinted at on the Friday episode, Wake Forest has been on extremely unstable ground. In fact, coming into this game, they had lost 5 of their last 6 games. Now they have lost 6 of their last 7. And so this was a game for NC State. You have to find a way to be the hammer instead of the nail. Steve Forbes, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if he makes it to Monday. I really don't. I think he might be firing up the LinkedIn account by sundown here today on Saturday. But this is the type of performance that NC State had to go and just put on a show. It was a little slow getting started out of the gate. Both teams are kind of struggling to find any semblance of an offense. But once NC State did get it rolling, boy, did they ever. Again, 16 threes they buried in this game. They're 16 of 28. That's 57%. They shot 54% overall. Darian Williams, and I'll talk about him in just a little bit, didn't play a ton in this game because he tweaked. I saw Wade, it was his Achilles or calf, one of the two, maybe both. Hopefully neither. So we'll have to monitor that as we move forward. But Darian Williams, in only 24 minutes, he gave you 20 points on 7 of 12 shooting, 5 of 8 from downtown, and kind of, piggybacking off of the last game against Syracuse, he looks overly confident now. And I don't know, maybe it was that phone call from a friend, and maybe sometimes that is what it takes. Sometimes you have to have somebody close to you to call you up and say, hey, what's your deal, man? Why do you look soft? This is not the Darian Williams that I know, that I've played with. And maybe that woke up something inside him, because yet another great performance from D1. He led the way, 20 points. And again, that confidence, when he's confident, you can tell the rest of the team absolutely will be as well. Paul McNeil in this game, 28 points. He was 6 of 8 from beyond the perimeter. Jeez. I mean, if you give this guy a little space, he might even create just a little bit more and then bury one right in your face. When you get this guy in a rhythm, he is one of the best shooters in the country. And little by little, we kind of understand that more when you see a performance like this one, why Will Wade and the rest of this team was so fired up about his capabilities from back over the summer. They tracked the whole team and their shooting performances back in the offseason. They said, hey, Paul McNeil, you got to look out for this guy. And when you see what he can do on a day like today, 28 points, burying 3 after 3. I had tweeted, late there in the second half that I know that a dagger is going to come in one of these moments. And he actually hit multiple daggers, including one with like mere seconds left on the clock, just for good measure. Dominant performance from Paul McNeil. And the gravity that he requires whenever he's on the floor, that Wake Forest has to take him into account. And when you have a distributor like Quadir Copeland is, my goodness, it just makes everything so much more dangerous, because when Quadir gets into the lane and he's able to kick out to Darian or Matt Abel, or in this case like today, Paul McNeil, forget about it. If you get an open look to this team with our shooters, it's going to be a long day. And that's what you saw for most of the second half and bleeding into that, or most of the first half bleeding into that second half. So very pleased with the offensive performance today. 96 points on the road is no small feat. 7-2 now in conference play. That's spectacular. What is that now? 5-0 on the road there is something to be said, and I say this all the time on here, there's something to be said about going on the road and dominating a team inside of their home arena. And like I said, Wake is kind of, floating around. They don't have an identity. Now they're 11-11 on the year. We have essentially metaphorically ended their season. And to my own point, we'll see if Steve Forbes is still around to see what Monday looks like. But just a great performance by NC State, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, I thought they were good in the first half, but, for the majority of the beginning of the second half, they looked like they kind of fell asleep a little bit. They sagged off with some three-point shooters, left out way too many open looks. Really only Juke Harris was the guy taking advantage of that for Wake. He finished with 31 points. Outside of that, they didn't really have much for us. And so NC State does pick up a dominant win here on the road by 18 points. It was kind of shocking that we weren't able to really balloon it into like 20, 25-point territory. To Wake's credit, they were able to kind of hit a three or hit a big shot every time that we hit one. It kind of went back and forth. But, when you're able to bury it at the clip that we are on a game like today, like I said, forget about it. So 18-point win on the road. It's excellent. And Wade has these guys rolling at a clip right now. I've been telling you, we just talked about the other day, that 8-man rotation. Wade went with 8 guys yet again today. He has found something. There's some kind of synergy in these 8. And I also want to talk about Terrence Arsenault, because something that's been really consistent these last couple of weeks, it's like, man, I think Terrence Arsenault just played his best game of the season so far. Then you wait 3 or 4 more days, we play another game. Man, I think Terrence Arsenault just played his best game of the season so far. You wait a couple more days. Today arrives. Man, I think Terrence Arsenault just played his best game of the season so far. He had 9 points and 2 boards. Not going to look crazy on the stat sheet. He never really is. But his impact when he is on the floor is simply night and day. He plays lockdown defense. He demands some attention now because he's proven he can hit the open three if you'll let him take one. Seems like every time he does have one, he ends up burying it. He's physical enough to get into the paint, get to the rim. He had a couple nice finishes today. Had a couple nice floaters today. That jump shot seems like it's starting to come along as well. So I thought Terrence Arsenault, he was a difference maker today for NC State. That energy, like I said, it's not something you can really see. It doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but it matters to this team. And Terrence Arsenault is one of the strongest forces that it's currently coming from. Trey Holloman also had a very, interesting game, you could say. Holloman had 11 points. He had a couple threes buried. Got lost a couple times defensively, and that's why Wake did get some open looks there in the second half and probably made things a little closer than they needed to be. But to his point, he did hit some big shots and kind of continued to distance ourselves every time Wake started to chip away. But just overall, pleased with the win. And like I said, for Wake and, kind of where they are at this point of the year, NC State needed to go in and break their will. And I don't mean to be dramatic and sound like Bane from Batman, but this is a game that NC State, they showed up and performed exactly how they needed to. Go in there, don't play around with them, don't let them float there close in the second half and give them confidence, make things interesting. No, end their season today. Make their administration question how many more days they can withstand with Steve Forbes at the helm. I think we did exactly that today. So 96-78. I'm going to get into a quick ad read. I'm going to read some of your comments. I got so many things flashing in front of my eyeballs. It's not great for me because I'm a bit of a squirrel at times, but we're going to get into a quick ad read. Stick with me. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. All right. Our first sponsor of our Postgame Saturday Live is FanDuel. It's the last call for FanDuel or football. Last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday coming up next weekend. One last kickoff. The last chance to get in on the action before all the NFL season comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure that you're right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or building one last same-game parlay, this is the game that everyone's been waiting for. This is where the big predictions turn into big plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. Make it count, because after the Super Bowl, football is over until August. Last call for football on FanDuel. It's the official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com in order to get started. Bear with me real fast. I'm going to tweet out the link because I forgot to do that. Anyway, 96-78 over Wake Forest on the road. Like I said, just like the doctor ordered, you wanted to go over there, not mess around, and you did that. So diving a little bit deeper to some of the stats from today, like I said, Darian gave you 20, Paul McNeil gave you 28, Trey Holloman gave you 11, Quadir Copeland gave you 8. He also gave the Wake Forest fan base some wolves on the way over to the bench. You want to talk about everything you want in an NC State player. It's all kind of embodied in Quadir Copeland. And the way that he can not only energize his guys, but simultaneously get under the skin of the other crowd. It's the type of player that we've always really wanted to have at NC State, coupled with the coach now that we also have. Quadir, additionally, with his 8 points, he also had 10 assists. If I'm not mistaken, he might have had all 10 of those in the first half. I'd have to double check on that, but I think it was close if that isn't the case. He actually found himself in foul trouble for some of this game. He had 4 fouls, so he was kind of in and out coming off the bench, only 24 minutes played, just like Darian. But he is the floor general for this team. Like I said, that his ability to drive into the paint and then kick out to a wide open three, it's lethal. It's deadly. It's insert bad synonym here. You don't want to see that if you're the other team. And Wake Forest, they had no answer for it today. You had Paul McNeil open several different times, Trey Holloman open, Matt Abel open, Darian Williams open, and it was just Barry, 16 of 28 from beyond the perimeter. Thought Matt Abel played a decent game today. The energy, like I said, kind of in the same breath as TA, that's Terrence Arsenault. You can feel when they're in the game. You can tell a difference in how we're moving up and down the floor when they are on it. So shout out to Matt Abel as well. Van Allen Lubin had 12 points. He had 8 boards, another steady performance. A couple of the putbacks underneath on some misses too. It's just when you talk about the momentum of a game and trying to stay on top of Wake every time they kind of counter with a shot of their own, Van Allen Lubin a couple times there later or early in the second half, actually, with those putbacks right back up off the glass, very key. And you really can't say enough for how good that Val has been for us, not just the entire season, but especially these last couple weeks. I thought he was excellent. I want to talk a little bit more about the defense for NC State. And Wake Forest, they shot 42% in this game. They shot 35% from downtown. And I don't want to say it's misleading, but kind of, because Juke Harris, he hit 3 of 10 from downtown, and he was really the only guy shooting for the Demon Deacons. He was 11 of 25. No one else took more than 7 shots for them. So there was kind of a realistic game plan of, if Juke can't do it, then I guess we don't have anything going on for us today. And, you lost by 18. So you were right about that, Mr. Steve Forbes. Wake Forest, it's kind of confusing how quickly they're starting to deteriorate now, because the first time we saw them in Raleigh, it was a pretty good game for most of it. I mean, we ended up winning by, I think it was 13 points, but it was closer than this one was. Keep in mind, Wake Forest, they almost beat Michigan this year. And Michigan is the buzzsaw of all buzzsaws in the Big Ten. How they have fallen from that into now they're 11-11. Like I said, for the third time now. We'll see what happens with Steve Forbes. It's petty of me, but I take a little pride in crushing somebody's program. I like the fact that NC State was the hammer and makes, like I said, the administration over there in Winston-Salem say, all right, well, I think we might have seen enough. We might be looking at a change here. I want to be that team that does that to somebody else. And it kind of goes back to the black hat theory that Kenton brought up. And typically, I know I don't have it on right now, typically after we win a game like this one, I'll put on the black hat. The black hat means that you're a villain. If you haven't already heard this spiel from Kenton, be the villain. The villain wears the black hat. You want people to fear you. When NC State comes to town, whether it's in Winston or in Clemson or up in Chestnut Hill in Boston, or I don't know, in Durham or the Dirty Footland over there, you want them to fear NC State when we come to town. And slowly but surely, that's going to be the mindset shift that you'll see under Will Wade here at NC State. Because Wake Forest, they probably were very unsure of themselves coming into this game. And yeah, the weather's going on. Yeah, they moved up the time slot. Yeah, there wasn't very many people inside the arena. But I had to figure, they're like, well, NC State's playing well right now. We are, I don't know what we are right now. And, well, the end result today it is what it is. So NC State, they're picking up steam. They're picking up momentum. You can tell there's like that synergy, like I said, between the 8 that are getting the burn right now. They're communicating well. They're executing well. They have trust in one another, and it's showing up. It's showing up right now on the court. So 18-point win, 96-78 over Wake Forest. Excellent win. Like I said, we're now 7-2. We are now 7-2 inside of the ACC conference. Virginia is doing this little thing again where they're losing to an inferior team. They're currently losing on the road at Boston College. Keep your eyeballs on that one. So as it currently stands, NC State is 3rd in the ACC. We have sole possession if Virginia does in fact lose. We're 16-6 overall. We continue to push ourselves on the right side. I don't want to say it, but the B word of the bubble. Right now we're firmly in, but the season, it doesn't end right now. There's a lot of work still to be done on the table. Games like today, good teams, maybe even great teams, you go on the road and you do what needs to be done. That's what NC State, that's what we did today. So great win. I have a couple more comments on Darian. I'm going to go ahead and read another quick ad. I know it's a quick show today. I don't like rambling on here forever without Kenton to bounce some of my ideas off of. So another quick ad read. Stick with me. I'm going to talk about more with Darian Williams after a quick word from our sponsors. All right, our second post-game Saturday ad is Mazda. This is Mazda's moving the game forward. For those who show there's more to For those who show there's more than just the score, what's on the screen. These they remind us of what it really takes to raise the bar. It's the extra work that comes off the court. Today for NC State, yet again, it was Paul McNeil. He finished with 28 points. He was 6 of 8 from beyond the perimeter. Will Wade had comments about Paul McNeil early in the season that he was one of the only guys putting in the extra work off the court. That's why this is relevant now. Mazda puts in the same approach to how they craft each and every model. Highlights make the reel, but what it takes to get there makes it count. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, last couple minutes here of our Saturday post-game live. Let's talk some more about Darian Williams. Like I said, kind of tapered off there late in the second half. Will Wade said he tweaked either his Achilles or his calf. It looked to me on the screen like it was an ankle, but this is why you never should speculate. But in just 24 minutes, he had 20 points. He had 3 boards. He had an assist. He did have 5 turnovers in this game, which doesn't really sound right. I don't really recall seeing 5 turnovers, but, I have to go back and watch some of the film. He was great again today. He was a +7 in the plus-minus category. Whoever his friend is, I hope they reveal themselves because we've got to get them on the horn every single game day if D. Will is going to continue to play like this. Another game where your leader is your leader. Your stars are your stars. And so certainly we hope that he didn't tweak anything that bad. We want to keep him as healthy as possible because much like the early parts of the season, we're going to need him. Through the good, the bad, and hopefully never the ugly, but if it happens, even the ugly, you need Darian Williams. This team was more or less built around Darian Williams. And so that centerpiece there, you got to have him. So we certainly hope that he will be okay. It sounded like Will Wade said that he was cleared to re-enter the game, but with a double-digit lead of 12 to 14 to 16 points, there's really no use in having him come back in and push himself when maybe that wouldn't be a good idea for him. So I'm hoping that is the case, just more precautionary more than anything else. But if we do have him healthy and moving on, we have a road game. I believe it's Tuesday night at SMU. That's a big one. That's probably going to be a quad one if it's not already. These are the types of games that are really going to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the group as they get seeded here once February now, because February is about to be the current month as that rolls around. So hope that Darian is okay. I thought, again, he was excellent today. Paul McNeil was excellent today. Terrence Arsenault was excellent today. Quadir Copeland was good when he was in, had a little foul trouble. Van Allen Lubin was excellent. It was an excellent win. Will Wade was excellent. He was in the ear of Roger Ayers because we all know about some Roger Ayers. Great win today for NC State. 96-78. I'll let y'all go out and enjoy the snow. If you have any where you are, if you do have some, send my way. I'd like to go outside and spend some time in it. But happy Saturday to all. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay slobbered up. You know that I always am. Big win for NC State. More to come coming up on Monday. We'll talk more about this game. We'll get Kenton's thoughts from this, and especially as we pace forward to that big-time game on Tuesday night. Actually, you know what? Before I get out of here, I haven't even looked at any of the comments. Let's see what y'all are talking about. Shanerman says, I love when D1 made the one shot that stopped Wake's run, and then he looked at the Wake crowd and said, settle down. It's the confidence factor, man. I'm telling you, when D1, when Darian Williams is confident, everything is different, not just for him, but for his team as well. And like I said, when he's rolling at a high clip, forget about it. Mal says death, taxes, and P2 hitting money threes. Yeah, he had 6 of those things today, especially the kill shot, multiple kill shots there at the end of that game. Absolutely love it. Yeah, Jack Simpson says, Wade said Darian was okay and could have gone back in, but decided to sit him. Yeah, perfectly fine with that then. If you're up 16 points on the road and Wake Forest is kind of dead in the water like they are, don't rush it. There's no need to get yourself in any trouble there on out. So let's see. Mountain Packs has got 8 inches over here in Sylva, North Carolina. 11-month-old first snow. Wow, that's awesome. Enjoy these moments with your young family. I'm sure you'll remember, the big, massive snow of 2026 for many, many, many years. And I think a lot of us will, because we don't really get a ton of snow, especially in these parts of North Carolina. So we'll see. We'll see how much we end up getting. Like I said, I would love to have more than I currently do outside. So if you have a little extra, send it my way. I would appreciate it. Mouse says it's also snowing on the coast right now. How about y'all down on the coast? I have some friends down in Emerald Isle. I've been trying to keep in touch with them, see if they end up getting the white powder. Where is Gibbs? We lost him. He's out in the Avalanche, man. I can't find him. No, I'm just kidding. He had something going on. Could not be on here. Let's see. Don the Fonz, as a team, some of the best shooting all year. What's interesting about this is I was getting a little concerned that all the records we set on the road at Florida State, I thought they were going to be in jeopardy. Actually, just missed tying that 3-point record. We only hit 16 threes. We hit 19 on the road against Florida State. It looked like for a hot minute there, we were going to be challenging that. 96 points. I forget how many we finished with at Florida State. Was it like 114? Something ridiculous like that real fast. It was 113. Yeah, 113 on the road. Talk about walk into your trap and take over your trap. How about 96 in front of the Winston-Salem faithful? Let's see. Snow goggles on. I got that aura. I got that slobber. You know what it is over these parts. Let's see. All right, I'll get out of here. I'll let y'all go. It's almost 3 p.m. Eastern time. And, we got a winter wonderland to go out and have fun in. 96-78, NC State defeats Wake Forest. Thank you all so much for joining me on here. I know it's a weekend. We like to do our live shows every so often because we enjoy interacting with you all. So have fun out there. Stay safe out there. Stay warm out there. We'll see you all on Monday. And until then, go Pack.